Alright, so let's put this into practice. I am going to actually like what's going on with the blue stuff for this paint down here. It's kind of a happy accident. So I am going to, I think I've got one paint already. And this needs to live inside the rubber grip. So what I can do is I can just grab it and then move it on down. So I'm inheriting the rubber grip. And I'll make it white, or maybe like a grayish. And I'll get rid of that red so that we can see sort of how that is showing up. It's a bit intense still. So let's go to the mask and try to reduce this down just a little bit. I'm going to use this grunge texture here, which is removing stuff. You can kind of see if I find the right spot here. But it's not really removing it aggressively enough, so I am going to find one of these that's got a little bit more of a punch to it. And again, we're doing a multiply here, so the more black there is, the less of that stuff is going to show through in the final version. So if I grab one that's got lots of white, we're going to see a lot more of it. One that's got lots of black, we're going to see a lot less. You can always invert these right here. So that's something that you can modify. And I'm also going to, if you take the scale, let me set this to normal just to show you what the scale is doing. So that's kind of where we're starting with it. And if I increase the scale, double it, the punch out is going to get smaller. And I'm using my triplanar here, that's probably okay. It's a little bit less noticeable when you have UV seams, especially here because we've only got them right there. When you're combining stuff up, right? Sometimes you can get a pretty sharp line, in which case you'll need to go to UV projection. But in this case, I think I'll be pretty safe using just the regular UV layout. But I need to set this to, so there's multiply. You can see kind of the result there. You can also just do an add and a subtract, and it's hard to know exactly how these things are going to interact with each other. So there's a few that I'll just try by default. I know multiply is typically a remove. There's add and subtract, and you can actually just highlight it and then just use your down arrow in your keyboard to look at them all. And you can see there's all kinds of different ways that you can combine these, but we'll stick with multiply. So there is our whatever. There's some white paint on the handle, which again I didn't have to do any work for, so that's really cool. If I want to slide stuff around, there's this offset here. I may need to modify it here. I'm not sure if it's going to be as easy to do, but you can basically move stuff up and down and left and right. So here that's going to be like our offset. This is going to be sideways and this is up and down, and you can see how that modifies it. Kind of get a sense for what's happening there. It's a little bit tricky to see. You can sort of, if you see, watch this area right there as I'm moving back and forth. And if I set this to normal, it'll be a lot easier to see. So just scooting it this way, or scooting it up and down. So you get a lot of flexibility there, and I think that's okay just the way it is. Now let's actually, we're going to come over here and I'm going to make the paint a little bit more accurately reflect what's happening on the hammer, because right now we just sort of slapped it on some faces and that's not really accurate reflection of where it's showing up. So we'll go to the paint. This is our original paint here is basically just adding it there. So we can leave that and we'll just add a new paint and then just kind of combine them. And I am going to go to my brushes and basic hard because that's a pretty sharp boundary there. I'm going to turn symmetry on. And we'll be painting out initially. So I want to set this to black. There's a thing here, it's actually pretty useful, called stroke averaging, which is this right here. So if with it off, you can see, I'm also using a mouse. You should almost always be using a tablet for this, but you can see it's all kind of warbly and not that great. So if I use this stroke averaging here, what that'll do is it'll average the position of my strokes so that I can get a much nicer, more consistent edge there. Something like this. And that is a sharp border, that little corner there. So I'm just holding shift here to get that relatively straight line. It is still kind of applying it to the curved surface, so it's not perfect, but it'll work. So I'm just trying to, you know, get a little closer to what's actually happening. Got that sharp edge there. The geometry itself is very low poly, and that's going to make it a little bit more of a challenge to get something that's really nice and smooth. But just like we modified the UVs, it's actually very, very doable to modify the geometry to bring in a higher poly mesh, so that we don't have that much of a change there that's hard to paint over. Okay, so whatever. You could spend as much or as little time on this kind of stuff as you like, as is required by your project. I mostly kind of want to just demonstrate this smooth stroke feature that you can get. So now we're like a little bit closer to that. And I want to knock out some of the paint here. So we'll just grab one of these smart masks. Actually, in this case, it's so sort of spotty and not really worrying about too much about what's going on with the edge. I guess there's one of the nice things about the smart masks and the generators is they'll actually follow what's going on with the geometry, but I don't even think I put these hard edges in the high poly, so the low poly doesn't know about them. But we can just come over with a fill and go over to our, where are we? Procedurals. I'm going to use grunges. And this one is probably going to be okay. And we'll set this to subtract. And what we want is, it's got to be totally punched out. It can't be a little bit in, a little bit out, so maybe we'll find another one that we can... Sometimes you just have to mouse over and see what's up. There might be one that's got scratches in it. Let's see. Look at that. Yeah, that's a good example. All right. So I'm going to set this to normal. So that's kind of where we're beginning. And what I want is everywhere we have these black lines, I want those to be really black, and everywhere that's white, I want that to be like really, really bright. So I'm going to go to my fill here, and we can go to balance and contrast. So I'm basically just eliminating the gray areas. I really want it to be just white or black, and the reason for that is when we're dealing with, again, with metalness versus or metallic areas versus non-metallic. Let me go ahead and set this to multiply. Whenever you have like a hybrid where there's like a little bit of metal and a little bit of paint, it just reads as being very strange, just a very strange surface. So it's better to make that very, very very contrasty. Let me just kind of show you. If I reduce this, well, let's see. I think it's the contrast. That's kind of what I mean. Like where you start to get this like weird gray stuff that's not metal and it's not really paint. It just reads as being strange. So we'll increase our contrast so we get less of that. And again, there we go, right? Like it's just, we're just looking for some way to give the illusion that there's like damage and stuff on the surface without actually having to do anything on the sculpting end. And the other thing that's really cool about this is it's pretty easy to change it, right? Like I didn't paint all the stuff in, so if I want to make changes, I can just go in and modify as I please, and like throw a different alpha in there or a different grunge in, whatever. Like it's no big deal. Okay, so let's see. We're at 9 minutes now, so I'm going to go ahead and stop it. But I think in the next video I'm going to add one more thing, which will be like some dirt and some rust, and then we'll call it good.